see another issue. She said, well, did you see all the thing on Dr. Shiny's property? And I said, no. So anyway, they just happened to be in the council packet this week. There were 6 cease and desist orders for the Dr. Shiny property. This is the one down in Beavertail that had the violation in 2006. And there were 4 for Hamilton Young, which is the property right next door. And they're all related to creation of a beautiful duck pond. This is all done without a permit.
Wow.
Creation of a duck pond.
What?
Totally redirecting a stream. These are courtesy of Coastal. They sent me these the other day. Totally redirecting a stream without a permit. And you can see I put after each one of those C&Ds what the violation was. And there was one more in here somewhere.
Is he still in the farm and open space program?
I have no idea what he's done with the farm. I did.
Chris, when did this go down? I mean, was this?
This happened, and this was the C&Ds came out on November 12th.
Okay.
So, and if you look at this is pretty well developed.
And how did they discover this?
Good question. Possibly the neighbor. One of the neighbors has been watching this pretty closely since the first violation. And, but it's pretty well, I mean, look at it's all vegetated and everything already, so it's
They're on
happening.
his property, those pictures.
Well, these pictures are taken by Coastal. See this truck right there?
Ah, okay, got it.
Oh yeah, the last thing I was gonna do is gonna go over there and take pictures and get caught for trespassing. No, these are pictures that came from CRMC. I asked her if they could send pictures to me so I could show them to the council last night if we had to, or at least
That's
bring
your
them
permission
permission.
down to his property, or can you just drive over to the property?
No, any safe person like that can just go on the property. They have permission to access.
Just curious.
So anyway, we have, pardon me?
Big brother.
Yeah, we have six C&Ds for them, and we have 4 for Hamilton and Young. And what I did address the council last night, I emailed Mike and I said that these were on the agenda. I'd like to at least make a few comments about them. What I said was that the last time this happened, which is here's the last violation, when they did the whole clearing of the coastal feature, that what we did is we, as a commission, we wrote a letter to CRMC, okay? And we sent a copy of that letter to the council, the town council, asking the council to support CRMC's position to have the restoration and the fines enforced. So what my feeling is,
We never heard about how that was resolved.
I'm not sure what happened with the fines. They did ask for dismissal of the fines because they did X, Y, and Z. Now, whether that ever happened, I don't know.
They
But I
did
could-
X, Y, and Z, a couple other
But
ones.
what you can see from the drawing is they obviously never really restored the buffer the way they should have done. The buffer has not been restored to the condition that they were originally required to.
So was the Hamilton and Young cease and desist directly related to work done on the Brookshire property?
Yes. Well,
Built
no.
the pond, which
Here's the other
altered the
one.
stream.
Here's the buffer. The Hamilton Young, it's basically the same thing. Alteration within 200 feet of the coastal zone buffer.
But was it as a result of work
Yes,
done on the
yes.
Brookshire property?
It's all the same thing.
So it
Yeah.
was.
So the cease and desist, I'm sorry if I'm like out of the loop here, but, so they have to undo what they did?
Well, all the cease and desist order says, and each one is different, and one paragraph says, come to our attention by CRMC that you undertake an alteration of the 200-foot buffer zone, or you've altered this ASSF or something like that, located on the property. The 2 properties are contiguous to one another, Hamilton and Young. Hamilton and Young did enter into some sort of land agreement with Pakashani on the property, so whether they knew about this and
Prior to their
it happening,
involvement, right?
I don't know that, I can't tell you that, but all I can say is that when Coastal went down, it was obviously over the line. So that's why.
This was all on November 12th of this year?
Well, this is when it was, the
Recorded.
CAD came out, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, I don't know what the site visit date was, but the
Okay.
CAD actually came out November 12th, and the town got copies of all of them. They had to be recorded. So, anyway, I addressed the council last night. I told them that we had a meeting tonight. We couldn't make any recommendation to them, but we'd probably follow what we did last time, if the commission wants to. Basically, writing another letter to Coastal, reiterating what we said in our previous letter, which basically points out blatant violations.
What was that letter date, Chris?
This letter was October 22nd, 2006. That was the original. And then we sent it to the council the same day when we sent the Coastal letter, asking that the restoration be enforced, that the fines be enforced. I know they've already appealed the fines.
They have?
They have already, yeah. There's a meeting coming up in January, apparently, there'll be a hearing on that.
So we notified, we sent a letter on, in 2006, 3 years ago,
Right, for the first violation.
first violation.
And the council also sent a letter. The council approved sending a letter on November 13th, 2006. We voted 4-0 to support CRMC's position, asked it to be reinforced, be restored. So what I would recommend is that we do the same thing this time and just make the letter stronger. Send it to CRMC. Send a copy to the council, asking the council to do the same
Go to the
thing. Yeah.
landowner? To the copy of the
Or
landowner?
do you CC the other one?
I think we talked about that last time, and we decided that that wasn't necessary. For whatever reason, that we're dealing directly with coastal.
Mhm.
We sent it to the town council.
So it's not our purview
Yeah.
to directly approach the landowner, that's not.
Yeah,
that's
probably, I
prior
think
to-
that's what we decided last time. That's
I
not-
wasn't here then.
Right, it's not in our purview, but we did put in a bunch of conditions that we felt should be met. You know, and we could.
Not which were.
Ensure that additional clearing and destruction of coastal buffer be prevented, ensure that both administrative fines of $2,500 each and the cumulative per diem fine of $500 a day be assessed to the maximum.
$500 a day?
Yeah, well, that was then.
Oh,
To ensure that prior to the approval of any other application to CRMC for any development of the lot 41 by the current owner, that the current owner be required to submit a detailed restoration plan to reestablish the 200-foot coastal buffer required on the property and located adjacent to the Temple of Water. This restoration should include vegetation of the same species and size as removed, i.e. large trees and shrubs removed should be replaced with trees and shrubs of similar size and species. This restoration should be monitored for complete and accurate implementation.
and that was ignored?
Well,
It hasn't
this is
happened yet.
what it looks
That
like
was
today.
ignored. I mean,
That's what it looks like today.
Okay, so that was ignored.
And it used to look like this.
Okay, so that was ignored.
Well, I don't know if it was ignored. This is what they call it.
Well,
You know,
restoration.
a couple things.
Nothing's
There was a contractor who did this and
Oh,
they
yeah.
probably ought not to have done it. I don't know, wasn't there some discussion of, policing it from a number of different fronts? That's one of them.
The contract should not held liable.
It also, if he's in the farm fields and open space program, he may have some wriggling room in terms of, maybe he says that this pond is actually for feeding his livestock that he's gonna put there next year.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't know, but I think you're right in terms of sending a letter, barring, or not knowing that, but
Right,
does that
that was the
matter?
question, was it agricultural?
yeah, remember the last time that we got the letter from Ken Ayers that basically said that they didn't accept their management plan and that they refunded their money
oh, they did.
the first time.
Ken did that?
Ken did that because the first time they tried to come in under the farm agricultural exemptions, but in order for them to prove that they hadn't proved that they were a farm.
Yeah,
Right.
income.
They had to, yeah, you have to have, right, there's a certain
Right.
requirement, yeah.
But someone could come in and lease the land who had income, who was a farmer, and be
Right, you can
eligible to
do
do
that.
that. And maybe that's, so it's hard to really, I mean, do we need to know about, do we need to educate ourselves a little bit before we can send a letter?
I think we should,
It's pretty egregious, but-
right, we should base it on what Coastal did. I don't think Coastal would
Agree.
move forward. I mean, they have the same file we have, and I don't think Laura would have moved forward on this without having all the information. They're not gonna send 10, C and Ds out with disinformation. So I think what we need to do is, my recommendation is that we do the same thing we did last time, just make it stronger. And ask the council to do the same.
Could we also, on the buffer, just specify native plants, not
What,
just
so we
temporary?
did, they
We did not
basically,
do that last time, but we should have.
I think we did,
Well, we did say
We said
indigenous,
in
but,
well, basically we said large trees and shrubs removed should be replaced with trees and shrubs of similar size and species.
Right.
So I would
You
assume
don't
that,
necessarily.
We don't know
want
their-
nature, you want it to be natives, not necessarily what was removed.
okay, so we could say, yeah, because it may not have been native.
well, what's that exactly? What is it, what else is not native?
Coast,
Cedars.
Coastal has a
Certain
restoration.
shrub, oh, okay.
They obviously have a restoration plan for
Sustainable
before.
plants list.
Okay. So we can add native to that, the wording native. Any other thoughts on it?
Is it native or is it indigenous?
Probably.
They're different. Native means, it can be anything that's been there for a while, and indigenous, Carol, maybe you would tell me the difference.
What would you use?
Indigenous is something that is actually
No, native,
historically,
native would be
Native would be correct.
historically.
and indigenous just means something that grows there.
Yeah, like maple
I'm not sure
grows here.
there's a technical definition for indigenous. But you could even just specify off
Yeah,
CRMC's
okay.
restoration
Yeah.
plan list.
I would love to see what the restoration plan was before, because I'm sure they didn't do additions of. Anyway, is everybody happy with that sort of an idea? Okay, can somebody make a
Do you need
motion?
motion?
Pardon?
So moved.
Yeah, we need a motion